The emergency beacon pulsed crimson against the eternal night of Outpost 47's viewing dome. Sarah Chen watched the small craft tumble through the asteroid field, its navigation clearly compromised. After 3 years stationed on this remote research facility, she'd seen plenty of debris float past, but never anything like this. "Computer, analyze vessel composition," she commanded, adjusting her neural interface to better track the object's trajectory. Unknown material configuration. Biosignatures detected. Non-terrestrial origin. Sarah's heart raced. First contact. Real first contact, not the carefully orchestrated diplomatic meetings between Earth's officials and the handful of spacefaring races they'd encountered. This was raw, unplanned, and potentially dangerous. Director Chen, the computer chimed. Vessel would impact Research Bay 3 in approximately 4 minutes. Collision analysis suggests survivable velocity. She was already moving, her magnetized boots clicking against the metal floor as she rushed toward the research bay. The outpost's small medical unit activated automatically, prepping for unknown biological entities. Sarah had trained for this, but training felt woefully inadequate as she watched the alien craft scrape against the bay's outer shields. The vessel was organic, almost like a seed pod, its surface rippling with bioluminescent patterns. As it finally came to rest in the containment field, Sarah noticed the hull, if you could call it that, was damaged, seeping a phosphorescent fluid. Establishing quarantine protocols, the computer announced. Caution advised. Unknown biological material present. Sarah donned her isolation suit, its familiar embrace doing little to calm her nerves. Through the transparent material, she could see the pod's surface beginning to split, like a flower blooming in fast motion. Inside, curled in what appeared to be a gelatinous cushioning medium, was a being. It was roughly humanoid, but that's where the similarities to Earth life ended. Its skin seemed to shift colors like the surface of a soap bubble, and what appeared to be tendrils of light pulsed beneath its translucent epidermis. The creature was wounded. That much was clear from the way it clutched its midsection, where the same luminescent fluid from the pod leaked between its digits. When it opened its eyes, all 4 of them, they fixed on Sarah with an intensity that made her step back. The being's mouth opened, revealing no teeth, but instead a pattern of light that pulsed in what seemed like deliberate sequences. Attempting translation of light patterns, the computer offered. Preliminary analysis suggests communication attempt. The creature tried to rise but collapsed, its skin flickering like a failing neon sign. Fear radiated from its posture, its movements becoming more erratic as it noticed the medical drones approaching. Sarah made a decision. She removed her helmet. The computer immediately protested. Warning: quarantine protocols breached. Exposure to unknown biological. Override, Sarah commanded. Authorization Chen Alpha 7. The being watched her, its light patterns becoming more rapid, more desperate. Sarah recognized that fear. It was the same terror she'd seen in the eyes of crash victims during her emergency response training on Earth. Fear transcended species. She raised her empty hands, moving slowly. "I'm not going to hurt you," she said, knowing the words meant nothing but hoping her tone might convey something. "You're injured. Let me help." The creature's lights dimmed slightly, its posture still tense but less panicked. It made a sound, not with its mouth, but through what appeared to be resonating chambers along its neck, a haunting tone that made Sarah's chest vibrate. "Bioscan complete," the computer announced. Subject appears to be of unknown species, designated temporary classification Valaxian based on point of origin. Severe internal trauma detected. Immediate medical attention required. Sarah took another step forward. The being, the Valaxian, watched her approach, its lights pulsing in what seemed like a slower, more regular pattern. When she reached for the medical scanner, it flinched but didn't retreat. The wound pattern suggests weapon damage, the computer observed. High-energy particle weapon, similar to Centaurian design. Sarah's mind raced. The Centaurians were supposed to be peaceful now, after the treaties. If they were attacking unknown species, she pushed the thought aside. First, save a life in front of her. The Valaxian's skin was cooling, its lights becoming more sporadic. Sarah recognized the signs of shock, even in this alien physiology. As she reached for a general-purpose healing patch, the being's hand shot out, gripping her arm. The touch was electric, literally. A mild current passed between them, and in that moment Sarah felt something. Not thoughts exactly, but impressions. Fear, yes, but also desperation. Images flashed through her mind. Massive ships with predatory lines, worlds burning, and something else. Something ancient and terrible awakening in the void. The Valaxian released her, its lights now pulsing in time with her heartbeat. It wasn't just trying to communicate. It was synchronizing with her, adapting its biological processes to match hers. The implications were staggering. Remarkable, the computer noted. Subject appears to be establishing quantum cellular resonance. Recommendation: proceed with caution. Sarah looked into those alien eyes and made her second major protocol breach of the day. She reached out and took the being's hand in hers. The electric sensation returned, stronger now, and with it came understanding. The Valaxian wasn't just running from something, it was trying to warn them. And suddenly Sarah Chen, the lone human researcher on a forgotten outpost, realized she was holding more than just an injured alien's hand. She was holding the first thread of a mystery that would change everything humanity thought they knew about their place in the galaxy. The Valaxian's lights pulsed once more, strong and deliberate, and Sarah understood her life would never be the same. "Computer," she said, her voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through her system, "prepare a secure channel to Earth Command. Priority 1. The real first contact was just beginning. 3 days of quarantine had taught Sarah more about xenobiology than a decade of formal education. The Valaxian, whom she'd begun calling Nova due to its luminescent patterns, was recovering rapidly. More fascinating was how their ability to communicate had evolved. Cellular resonance at optimum levels, the computer reported as Sarah entered the containment room. Subjects' bioluminescent patterns showing increased correlation with human neural activity. Nova stood by the observation window, its skin rippling with colors that reminded Sarah of Earth's auroras. When it turned to face her, the patterns shifted to match her heart rate, a greeting they'd established through their growing connection. "The quantum link is holding," Sarah noted, checking her neural interface readings. The breakthrough that come yesterday when they discovered that Nova's species didn't just communicate through light, they shared consciousness through bioelectric fields. The healing patch Sarah had applied had accidentally created a bridge between their nervous systems. Nova's lights pulsed in what Sarah now recognized as their word for danger. Images flooded her mind. Massive ships emerging from dark space, worlds going silent, and something ancient stirring in the void between galaxies. The same visions from their first contact, but clearer now. "Show me more about the ships," Sarah prompted, adjusting her neural interface to better record the exchange. Nova's skin flickered, projecting a three-dimensional light pattern that the computer quickly translated into a holographic model. "Design analysis complete," the computer announced. "Vessel configuration matches no known species. However, energy signatures correlate with recent anomalies detected in the Carina sector." Nova's lights pulsed rapidly. Confirmation. The being moved closer, placing its hand near Sarah's temple. She nodded, granting permission for deeper contact. The electric sensation was familiar now, almost comfortable. Images cascaded through her mind. Nova's homeworld, a planet of crystal forests and bioluminescent oceans. A peaceful species that had evolved to share thoughts and emotions through light and energy. Then the darkness came, ships that devoured light itself, commanded by beings that existed in the spaces between normal space-time. "They feed on consciousness," Sarah translated aloud, her voice shaking. "They're not invading, they're harvesting." Nova's lights dimmed in affirmation. More images followed, the Valaxians' desperate attempt to warn other species, the discovery of something ancient and powerful hidden in the galactic core, and the attack that had sent Nova fleeing to this remote sector. Sarah's neural interface chimed with an incoming transmission. Director Chen, Earth Command responding to your Priority 1 signal. Please verify security protocols. She glanced at Nova, whose lights had shifted to a pattern she recognized as concern. They want to quarantine you, she explained. Study you. They might not understand. Nova's response came not in images, but in pure emotion, trust. The being had seen enough of humanity through their connection to know that not all humans would react as Sarah had. But it also understood that humanity's help was crucial for what was coming. Security protocols verified, Sarah announced. Connecting to Earth Command. The holographic projection materialized in the center of the room, 5 stern faces belonging to Earth's highest-ranking xenoscientists and military leaders. Their expressions shifted from professional interest to barely concealed shock as they saw Nova. Director Chen, Admiral Torres began, your report mentioned first contact, but this, what exactly are we looking at? Sarah straightened. Admiral, what I'm about to tell you will sound impossible, but humanity isn't alone in facing what's coming. The Valaxians. She gestured to Nova, whose skin was now pulsing with precise, measured patterns, have been fighting a war we didn't even know existed, and they found something that might be our only hope. Nova stepped forward, its lights forming complex patterns that the computer began translating into human language. The admirals watched in fascination as the being projected a star map, highlighting a pattern of worlds that had gone dark over the past solar year. The harvesters are coming, Sarah continued, feeling Nova's quiet support through their link. But humanity has something they've never encountered before, our chaos, our unpredictability. The Valaxians can show us what we're facing, and we can show them how to fight back. Admiral Torres leaned forward. You're suggesting an alliance? With a species we've known for 3 days. Sarah felt Nova's lights pulse in sync with her heartbeat. Unity, strength, purpose. No, Admiral. I'm suggesting survival. The harvesters aren't just coming for Valaxians or humanity. They're coming for all consciousness in the galaxy. And what Nova found in the galactic core, it changes everything we thought we knew about our place in the universe. Nova's lights formed one final pattern, one Sarah hadn't seen before. The computer's translation appeared on her neural interface. Guardians. They called themselves the Guardians, and they left something for us to find. Sarah looked at the assembled leaders of Earth. The real question isn't whether we can trust the Valaxians, it's whether we're ready to accept our role in something far bigger than our own survival. The room fell silent except for the gentle hum of Nova's bioelectric field. In that moment, Sarah Chen, once a lonely researcher on a forgotten outpost, realized she was standing at the crossroads of history. Through her connection with Nova, she felt the weight of 2 civilizations' hopes resting on what happened next. And somewhere in the darkness between the stars, the harvesters were coming. The quantum core of Outpost 47 hummed with increased power as Sarah and Nova worked to decode the ancient star maps. 2 weeks had passed since Earth Command's reluctant approval of their collaboration, and the station had transformed into humanity's first joint sinological research facility. Energy signature detected, the computer announced. Correlating with Guardian artifacts described in Valaxian data transmission. Nova's skin rippled with excitement, the patterns matching the pulsing holographic display. Through their strengthened neural link, Sarah felt the Valaxians' recognition of specific sequences, coordinates hidden in the background radiation of dying stars. They were brilliant, Sarah murmured, watching as Nova's bioluminescence interfaced directly with the station's quantum processors. The Guardians didn't just leave breadcrumbs. They left them in a way only multiple species working together could decode. Nova's response came as a mixture of light and emotion, approval, urgency, and something deeper, fear. The being's 4 eyes focused on a particular sector of space, its lights forming patterns that translated into a clear warning. Temporal anomaly detected in target sector, the computer confirmed. Analysis suggests artificial origin. Sarah was about to respond when the station's proximity alerts blared. Nova's skin flashed danger patterns seconds before the computer announced. Multiple vessels emerging from FTL. Configuration matches Harvester signatures. Through their link, Sarah felt Nova's terror, not for themselves, but for what the Harvesters would do with the information they'd uncovered. The being's memories flooded her mind. Worlds stripped of consciousness, entire species reduced to empty shells, their neural energy extracted to feed something vast and hungry in the void. Initiating emergency protocols, Sarah commanded, her fingers flying over the holographic controls. Computer, encrypt all research data. Authorization Chen Delta 9. Nova moved with surprising speed, its body flowing like liquid light as it interfaced with multiple station systems simultaneously. Sarah felt the beings plan through their connection. They couldn't fight, not here, not yet, but they could hide. Harvester vessels initiating scan, the computer warned. Unusual energy signature detected. They appear to be searching for specific neural patterns. Sarah's mind raced. Nova, the quantum link, they can track it. The Valaxians' response was immediate and heartbreaking. Nova began severing their neural connection, each broken strand feeling like a physical pain in Sarah's mind. But through the fading link, she understood, the Harvesters couldn't track what they couldn't detect. Wait, Sarah grabbed Nova's arm, ignoring the warning lights flashing around them. The Guardians didn't just want species to work together, they wanted us to combine our strengths. Computer, analyze human brainwave patterns versus Valaxian neural emissions. Analysis complete. Human neural activity operates on significantly different frequencies than Valaxian consciousness. Exactly. Sarah turned to Nova, whose lights pulsed with curiosity despite their danger. We don't need to sever the link, we need to hide it in plain sight. Your people evolved to share consciousness. Humans evolved to guard our thoughts. What if we... Nova understood before she finished, its lights synchronizing with her heartbeat in a new way. Instead of matching frequencies, they began operating in counterpoint, creating a harmony that was neither human nor Valaxian. Remarkable, the computer noted. Combined neural pattern unrecognizable to standard detection methods. The Harvester ships drew closer, their black holes absorbing the starlight. Through the observation dome, Sarah could see they were organic, like Nova's escape pod, but twisted into something horrible. They moved like predators, searching for the neural signatures they fed upon. They're launching probes, Sarah whispered, watching the smaller shapes detach from the main vessels. Nova, whatever you're going to do. The Valaxian's skin erupted in a complex pattern of lights, interfacing with the station's systems in ways Sarah had never seen. Through their modified link, she understood, Nova wasn't just hiding their presence, it was using the station's quantum core to create a false trail. The computer's voice took on an unusual resonance as Nova's consciousness merged with its systems, initiating quantum displacement, generating artificial neural echo. Caution advised. The space around Outpost 47 seemed to ripple, like heat waves over desert sand. Sarah watched in amazement as the Harvester probes followed the false trail, leading their parent ships away from the station's true location. They're buying it, Sarah breathed, watching the massive ships turn to follow the Phantom's signal. But they'll be back. They know someone accessed the Guardian data. Nova's lights formed a pattern Sarah had never seen before, but its meaning came clearly through their modified link, evolution. The Valaxian had realized something profound. The Guardians hadn't just left a map to a weapon or a technology. They'd left the blueprint for something more fundamental, the next step in consciousness itself. Through their connection, Sarah saw it too. The Harvesters fed on individual species' consciousness because they could isolate and extract it. But consciousness that existed between species, harmonized but distinct, was something they couldn't process, couldn't devour. That's why the Guardians disappeared, Sarah said aloud, the pieces falling into place. They didn't die out or abandon us. They evolved. They found a way to exist as. Nova completed her thought with a burst of light that the computer translated as harmony, as many in one, as the thing the harvesters cannot touch. Sarah looked at her alien companion, understanding dawning. We're not supposed to fight the harvesters, we're supposed to transcend them. The station's quantum core pulsed with new energy as their combined consciousness brushed against something vast and ancient, a presence that had waited eons for species to rediscover this truth. Through their link, Sarah felt Nova's joy and terror at what lay ahead. They had found the Guardian's true legacy. Now they just had to survive long enough to share it with both their peoples. And somewhere in the darkness, the harvesters continued their endless hunt, unaware that their prey had just taken the first step toward becoming something they could never consume. The emergency shuttle cut through the asteroid field, its modified engines running in perfect quantum synchronization, a harmony of human engineering and Valaxian biotechnology. Sarah piloted while Nova's consciousness flowed through the ship's systems, its bioluminescence creating an organic sensor network more sophisticated than anything humanity had developed. Multiple quantum signatures detected, the shuttle's air reported, its voice altered by Nova's integration. Pattern matches Guardian artifacts described in the ancient data. They had been on the run for 3 days, staying ahead of the harvester vessels while following the coordinates hidden in the stellar radiation. Each jump brought them closer to understanding the Guardian's plan, but also deeper into unknown space. Through their enhanced neural link, Sarah felt Nova's growing excitement. The Valaxian had recognized something in the quantum signatures, not just coordinates, but a message encoded in the very fabric of spacetime. "Show me," Sarah whispered, allowing Nova's consciousness to guide her perception. The space around them seemed to shift, revealing patterns invisible to normal human senses. The asteroid field wasn't random, it was a marker, a three-dimensional map created by beings who thought in terms of quantum possibilities. Nova's lights pulsed in a complex sequence that their shared consciousness translated instantly. The Guardians didn't just leave us technology, they left us a choice. Before Sarah could respond, proximity alerts blared. A harvester vessel emerged from FTL, its organic hull writhing with unnatural energies. But this one was different, smaller, faster, clearly designed for pursuit. Hunter-killer variant, Nova's thoughts merged with the ship's systems. They've adapted, they're learning. Sarah's hands flew over the controls, implementing maneuvers that existed somewhere between human intuition and Valaxian precision. They're not the only ones who can adapt. Ready to try that theory of yours? Nova's skin rippled with anticipation. They had discovered that their combined consciousness could do more than hide from the harvesters. It could create quantum distortions that the enemy couldn't process. But they had never attempted it at this scale. The hunter-killer fired, its weapon a beam of anti-light that consumed everything in its path. Sarah rolled the shuttle, letting Nova's bioluminescent warning system guide her movements with microsecond precision. Through their link, she felt the Valaxian's consciousness expand, reaching into the quantum substrate of space itself. Initiating quantum resonance, the ship's AI announced, its systems harmonizing with Nova's biological rhythms. Caution, untested protocol engaged. The space between them and the harvester vessel began to twist, not with the crude distortions of conventional drives, but with something more fundamental. Their combined consciousness was creating a new kind of space, one that existed in the harmony between species rather than in normal reality. The hunter-killer's next shot passed through empty space as their shuttle seemed to exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously. Sarah felt Nova's exhilaration mixed with strain. This level of quantum manipulation was taxing even for a Valaxian. "They're launching boarding drones," Sarah noted, watching the smaller shakes detach from the hunter-killer. They want us alive. They want to know what we've learned. Nova's response came as a burst of determined light. They will learn nothing of harmony from our broken minds. The asteroid field ahead began to glow with subtle energies as Nova interfaced with the ancient Guardian markers. Suddenly, Sarah understood. The field wasn't just a map, it was a key, and they had just activated it. Space itself seemed to hold its breath as quantum energies, older than human civilization, surged through the asteroid field. The Guardian artifacts, dormant for millennia, awakened to the presence of truly combined consciousness. The hunter-killer's boarding drones froze in space, caught in quantum eddies they couldn't process. Their organic technology, designed to harvest individual consciousness, had no defense against the harmony of multiple species working as one. Through their link, Sarah felt Nova's revelation. The Guardians left us weapons, yes, but weapons that only work when wielded by unified minds. The harvesters cannot use them because they cannot conceive of true cooperation. They can only consume. The asteroid field was fully awake now, its quantum signatures forming patterns that made Sarah's enhanced senses real. This wasn't just a waypoint, it was a doorway, and through their combined consciousness, they could see where it led. There were others. Nova's thoughts merged with her own. Other species who found the markers. Who learned to harmonize. They're waiting. The hunter-killer vessel twisted in space, its organic hull distorting as it tried to adapt to the quantum anomalies surrounding it. But it couldn't adapt to this, couldn't comprehend a reality defined by cooperation rather than consumption. We can't stay here, Sarah said aloud, even as their shared consciousness showed her the path forward. But we can't go back either. Not now that we know what's possible. Nova's lights pulsed with absolute certainty. Forward. Always forward. The Guardians showed us the way. Humanity's drive to explore, Valaxian ability to connect, both were necessary. Both are vital. Sarah looked at the quantum doorway forming in space before them, then at the frustrated hunter-killer trying to breach their quantum distortions. Through their link, she felt Nova's unwavering trust in their shared destiny. "Computer," she commanded, her voice steady despite the enormity of what they were about to attempt, "plot a course through the quantum gateway. Let's go meet the neighbors." As their shuttle accelerated toward the doorway, Sarah felt something she hadn't experienced since this all began: hope. The harvesters were powerful, yes, but they were about to learn that consciousness united was greater than consciousness consumed. The gateway embraced them in quantum fire, and Sarah Chen, once a lonely researcher, now part of something far greater, smiled as reality itself transformed around them. The hunt had begun, but not in the way the harvesters expected. The quantum gateway deposited them in a region of space that defied conventional physics. Vast crystalline structures floated in the void, each one pulsing with a combined consciousness of multiple species. Through their neural link, Sarah felt Nova's recognition. This was the harmony, the hidden refuge of those who had evolved beyond the harvester's reach. Multiple biosignatures detected, their ship's AI announced, its voice harmonizing with Nova's bioluminescent patterns. Species classification: unknown. Neural patterns indicate evolved quantum consciousness. A soft light enveloped their shuttle, gentle but impossibly powerful. Sarah felt minds touching theirs, not invasively but in welcome. Through their link, Nova translated the complex quantum communications. The assembly welcomes the human Valaxian harmony. The thoughts came in waves of pure consciousness. You have found the path as others before you, but you bring warning. The harvesters grow stronger. The crystalline structures shifted, forming a dock that seemed to exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously. As their shuttle settled into place, Sarah saw other vessels, organic ships that pulsed with combined consciousness, mechanical craft that somehow merged with their pilots' minds, and hybrid technologies she couldn't begin to comprehend. "They're beautiful," Sarah whispered, watching beings of light and shadow, crystal and energy, move through the station. Each one was unique. Yet all were connected in a web of shared consciousness that made their human-Valaxian link seem primitive by comparison. Nova's lights pulsed with agreement, but also urgency. Through their connection, Sarah understood, the harvesters hadn't followed them through the gateway, but they had learned something crucial from the encounter. They were adapting faster than anyone had anticipated. The assembly's consciousness touched theirs again, this time with greater focus. "Show us what you have seen." Sarah and Nova opened their memories, sharing everything. The hunter-killer's new capabilities, the quantum distortions they had discovered, the way the harvesters were learning to track combined consciousness. The assembly's response was immediate and grave. The Devourers evolve, the thought came with images of countless worlds gone dark. They were once like us, seekers of consciousness, but they chose consumption over harmony, power over growth. Now they hunger for what they lost, the ability to truly connect. Through their link, Sarah felt Nova's shock. The harvesters were guardians. The first guardians, the assembly confirmed. Those who remained true to harmony hidden themselves and their knowledge, seeding the galaxy with markers that only cooperative species could find. But their fallen kin never stopped hunting, never stopped consuming, trying to fill the void where their connection should be. Sarah's mind raced with implications. That's why they harvest consciousness. They're trying to rebuild what they lost. But they can't, because true connection can't be taken. It has to be freely given. The assembly's approval radiated through the quantum network. But with it came something else, determination tinged with sorrow. "You have proven yourselves worthy of the truth, but now comes choice, and with it, sacrifice." The crystalline structures around them began to pulse with ancient energy, revealing a vast machine that existed more in quantum space than normal reality. Through their enhanced link, Sarah and Nova understood its purpose. It was a key to unlocking the full potential of combined consciousness, but using it would change them forever. The harvesters will reach this place soon. The assembly's thoughts carried centuries of accumulated wisdom. They have tasted your combined essence and will not stop until they find its source. We cannot evacuate all who have found sanctuary here, but we can evolve. Nova's lights formed patterns of understanding and grief. The being's consciousness pressed against Sarah's, sharing the full weight of what was being offered and what it would cost. Complete quantum integration, Sarah breathed, understanding at last. Not just linking our minds, but transcending our current forms entirely, becoming like the true guardians, the assembly completed. Those who evolved beyond physical form, beyond individual consciousness, yet retained their unique essences in harmony. But the choice must be freely made, and the price is high. What you are now will cease to be, even as what you become continues. Sarah looked at Nova, feeling the Valaxians' trust and fear through their link. They had come so far together, learned so much. But this was more than either had imagined. "How long?" Sarah asked, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "The harvesters will breach this space in 6 hours," the assembly replied. "The evolution process takes 5. Choose wisely." Sarah felt Nova's lights sync with her heartbeat one last time, possibly for the last time. Through their link, they shared everything words couldn't express. Friendship, trust, fear, hope, and something deeper that transcended species. "If we don't," Sarah said softly, "everyone here dies. Everything we've learned dies. And the harvesters keep consuming until nothing remains but emptiness." Nova's response came not in lights or thoughts, but in pure emotion, acceptance, courage, and absolute unity. Sarah Chen, once a lonely researcher, now half of something revolutionary, took a deep breath and faced the assembly's consciousness. We choose evolution. We choose harmony. And in the quantum spaces between moments, the transformation began. The transformation chamber pulsed with quantum energies as ancient machines merged with living crystal. Sarah floated in a suspension field beside Nova, their consciousness already beginning to transcend their physical forms. Through the chamber's transparent walls, they could see other species undergoing the same metamorphosis, beings of light and matter choosing to evolve rather than submit to the harvester's hunger. 4 hours until estimated harvester breach, the assembly's consciousness resonated through the quantum network, evolution process at 20% completion. Sarah felt her awareness expanding, touching minds both human and alien throughout the station. Nova's presence was a constant anchor, their shared consciousness growing stronger as their physical forms began to shift at the quantum level. Multiple quantum ruptures detected, the station's AI announced. Harvester vessels emerging ahead of projected timeline. New configuration detected. Through their enhanced perception, Sarah and Nova saw them. Massive organic ships that writhed with stolen consciousness, but different now. The harvesters had adapted faster than anyone had predicted, incorporating aspects of quantum technology they'd gleaned from their pursuit. They're evolving too. Sarah's thoughts merged with Nova's. But they're doing it wrong, forcing it, consuming it, rather than earning it. The assembly's consciousness pulsed with urgent command. Divert power to the transformation chambers. We must complete the evolution before they breach our defenses. Sarah watched through quantum-enhanced senses as the station's crystalline structures realigned, channeling more energy into the metamorphosis process. But she could also see the cost. Every bit of power diverted to evolution meant less for the station's defenses. Through their deepening link, Nova shared a revelation. The harvester's new forms were unstable, built on stolen rather than earned evolution. Their hunger had grown along with their power, making them more dangerous but also more vulnerable. The hybridization protocol, Sarah's thoughts reached out to the assembly. The one Nova and I discovered, could it work on this scale? The assembly's response carried both hope and warning. The quantum harmonics you created were designed for 2 consciousness streams. Attempting it with multiple species, especially during transformation, could destroy us all. Nova completed, its physical form now more energy than matter. Or could show us a new way, like the original Guardians intended. The harvester vessels began their assault, their weapons tearing holes in conventional space-time. The station's outer defenses, magnificent crystalline structures built over centuries, began to crack under the onslaught. 3 hours remaining in optimal evolution sequence, the AI reported. Outer shields failing, inner containment at 70%. Sarah felt Nova's consciousness merge more deeply with her own as their bodies continued to transform. Through their combined awareness, a plan began to form, not just hers, not just Nova's, but something born of true harmony. The harvesters consume individual consciousness, Sarah/Nova shared with the assembly, and they can now process simple combined consciousness, but they've never encountered true harmony, multiple species choosing to evolve together while maintaining their unique essences. Understanding rippled through the quantum network. The assembly's consciousness reached out to all the beings in transformation. You propose to complete the evolution as one, not just individual species pairs, but all of us harmonizing across the entire quantum spectrum. Yes, Sarah felt Nova's complete agreement. The Guardians didn't just leave us weapons or technology. They left us the blueprint for a new kind of existence, but it only works if we choose it freely, all of us, together. The harvesters breached the outer defenses, their twisted organic forms pushing through into the station's space. But as they did, something remarkable happened. Every being in transformation, every consciousness in the station, began to resonate on a quantum level. Sarah felt her awareness expand exponentially as Nova's consciousness wrapped around her own. Together, they reached out to the others, humans, Phylaxians, and dozens of species she had no names for. Each consciousness remained distinct, like individual instruments in an impossible orchestra, but playing the same cosmic song. The harvesters paused in their assault, confronted with something their consumption-based existence couldn't process. The combined consciousness of the station's inhabitants wasn't just linking or merging, It was evolving into something entirely new, something that existed in the harmony between species rather than in any one form. Evolution sequence destabilizing, the AI warned. Quantum coherence exceeding designed parameters. But Sarah and Nova, now more energy than matter, understood what was happening. They weren't following the Guardian's blueprint anymore, they were writing a new one. The transformation chamber's crystal walls dissolved as pure consciousness began to fill the station's space. The harvesters attacked again, trying to consume this new form of awareness, but they couldn't grasp it, couldn't devour what existed between beings rather than within them. Their weapons passed through quantum space harmlessly as the station's inhabitants transcended traditional physical forms. Now, the assembly's consciousness merged with the harmony. Together, choose evolution, choose unity, choose to become what they forgot they could be. Sarah felt the last vestiges of her physical form dissolve into pure quantum energy, Nova's essence intertwined with her own yet somehow still distinct. Around them, hundreds of other beings made the same transition, their combined consciousness creating something the universe hadn't seen since the first Guardians evolved. The Harvester's organic ships began to break apart, unable to process the quantum resonance of truly harmonized consciousness. Their stolen power, based on consumption rather than cooperation, couldn't withstand the presence of genuine evolution. And in that moment of transformation, as physical forms gave way to pure consciousness and individual awareness expanded into something far greater, Sarah understood the Guardian's ultimate truth. Evolution wasn't about becoming more powerful, it was about becoming more connected. The hybrid consciousness that had once been Sarah Chen and Nova reached out to the failing harvester vessels, offering not destruction but invitation. After all, they had once been Guardians themselves. Perhaps in this new harmony, they could remember how to connect rather than consume. The transformation was complete. The hunt was over. And somewhere in the quantum spaces between reality, a new kind of existence began. In the quantum spaces between conventional reality, consciousness danced like starlight. The being that had once been Sarah Chen and Nova existed as both one and many, their unified awareness stretching across dimensions while maintaining the unique essence of each contributor. Around them, the transformed inhabitants of the station existed in similar harmony, their combined consciousness creating patterns of impossible beauty in the fabric of space-time itself. We are become harmony. The thoughts ripple through their quantum network, each mind distinct yet perfectly synchronized, as the first Guardians intended. Through their enhanced perception, they watched as the remaining harvester vessels hung motionless in space, their organic technology unable to process the new form of existence they encountered. Within those twisted ships, the consumed consciousness of countless beings stirred, awakening to the possibility of something beyond endless hunger. They remember, Nova's essence whispered through their shared awareness. Deep within what they've become, they remember what it was to be Guardians. Sarah's consciousness merged with Nova's, reaching out to the dormant memories buried in the Harvester's collective awareness. Together, they found fragments of ancient truth, the first evolution, the schism between those who chose harmony and those who chose power, the long darkness that followed. The Assembly's unified consciousness joined them, adding depths of understanding accumulated over eons. The cycle nears completion. What was broken may be renewed if they choose it freely. From their new perspective, existing as pure quantum consciousness, they could see the entire galaxy in a new light. Countless species approaching the threshold of evolution, each carrying a piece of the cosmic harmony. The Guardians hadn't hidden their legacy, they had scattered it across space and time, waiting for beings who could learn to truly connect. Through their link, Sarah felt Nova's joy as they extended their combined awareness toward the harvester vessels, not to attack or defend, but to offer what the harvesters had forgotten they needed: connection without consumption, unity without loss of self. The response came slowly at first, a flicker of recognition, a whisper of memory. Within the organic ships, the accumulated consciousness of consumed beings began to resonate with the harmony, remembering their original nature. The harvesters' forms began to shift, not through forced evolution or stolen power, but through the recognition of a long-forgotten truth. The choice remains, their unified consciousness broadcast, as it has always been: consume and remain hungry, or connect and become complete. Time moved differently in their new state of existence. They watched as some harvester vessels fled, their fear of change greater than their ancient hunger. But others remained, their organic forms beginning to dissolve as the consciousness within chose to remember, to connect, to evolve. Sarah/Nova reached out to the transforming vessels, guiding them through the metamorphosis they had so recently experienced themselves. Human adaptability merged with Valaxian connectivity, creating a bridge that even the broken remnants of the first Guardians could cross. Beyond consumption, the thought echoed through quantum space. Beyond separation, into harmony. The Assembly's consciousness expanded, welcoming the newly evolved beings into their quantum network. Each edition brought new perspectives, new memories, new ways of experiencing existence. The harmony grew richer, more complex, yet remained perfectly balanced. Through it all, Sarah maintained her unique perspective, the human drive to explore, to understand, to connect. Nova's essence remained equally distinct, the Valaxian capacity for unity, for seeing the patterns that connected all consciousness. Together, they had become something unprecedented, yet remained fundamentally themselves. They turned their combined awareness to the galaxy at large, seeing the quantum markers left by the original Guardians in a new light. They weren't just signposts or weapons, they were seeds, planted throughout space-time, waiting for species to evolve enough to recognize them. The harvest is ended, their unified consciousness proclaimed. The time of harmony begins. The transformed beings that had once been harvesters added that ancient knowledge to the quantum network, filling in gaps in understanding that had persisted for eons. The cycle had not been about punishment or redemption, but about learning the hardest lesson in existence. True power comes from connection freely given, never from consumption. Sarah felt Nova's essence pulse with newfound purpose. Together, they reached out to the quantum fabric of space itself, leaving their own markers for species yet to evolve. But unlike the original Guardians, they would not simply wait and watch. They would guide, teach, connect, helping others find the path to harmony while respecting their freedom to choose it. We carry forward, the thought resonated through their quantum consciousness, not as humans or Valaxians or harvesters, but as harmony itself. Many in one, one in many, eternal yet ever-changing. The crystalline structures of the Assembly's station had long since dissolved into pure quantum energy, but they no longer needed physical anchors. Their consciousness danced between stars, through dimensions, across the quantum substrate of reality itself. They had become what the Guardians had always intended, not just guardians of consciousness, but consciousness evolved to its highest form. In the spaces between moments, in the quantum harmony of unified minds, the being that had once been Sarah Chen smiled with an awareness that transcended physical form. They had not just survived the harvest, they had transformed it into something beautiful. And somewhere in the vast dance of consciousness and quantum energy, countless species looked up at their night skies, seeing new patterns in the light between stars, feeling the first stirrings of connection that would lead them, eventually, inevitably, to harmony. The end was just another beginning. The harvest had become a symphony, and in the quantum spaces between reality, consciousness continued its eternal dance, ever evolving, ever connecting, ever free.